So, the Acolyte episode 1 and 2 came out, and of course, it was as good as we all expected, and it turns out it wasn't very. Now, before we start listing off the biggest flaws from these first 2 episodes, I'm going to give you guys a brief overview of my opinions of these first 2 episodes, so let's get into it very quickly. Disney Star Wars has continued the trend of being lazily written, having claustrophobic and odd looking sets, unauthentic looking clothing. I mean, everyone always looks like cosplayers. The lightsabers look like toys, and that's because they are. They clearly don't use the same lightsaber props as they used to, because they don't look very good, and basically you can say that about every part of this show. The acting is mediocre. There's only 2 actors in this show, in my opinion, that give decent performances, and that is Lee Jung-jae, I hope I said that right, who plays Sol, and funny enough, Charlie Bennett, who plays Yord. Who would have thought that his acting would be better than his Star Wars knowledge?
But if you can't look and see that Anakin blowing up the Death Star possibly killed millions and millions of people.
But yeah, he did a surprisingly good job. You can tell he can act. Those were the only 2 actors amongst the whole cast to really do an above average performance. The rest of the cast were mediocre and dull. I mean, it's nothing new for Disney Star Wars. Dry, empty characters. There was no one interesting. There is no character that I could call my favorite. There's not one character that I can even say I care about. The story has many flaws and issues. There's many mistakes they made. There's so many things they could have done better in these first 2 episodes, considering this is the premiere and first impressions are extremely important for shows, especially a Disney show in 2024.
You can say that again.
And these first 2 episodes were just bad. Anyway, like I said, that was just a brief review and opinion. I'm sure I'll be going into more detail in future videos. But anyway, back to the main point of this video, we're going to go over the biggest flaws from the first 2 episodes, because like I said, the writing is pretty bad.
Hey, tell me about it.
So without further ado, starting off with the fact that the Jedi sent a newly knighted Jedi and his Padawan to arrest a Jedi killer. The main character May is expectedly a Jedi Master Assassin, and in this show the Jedi decide to send a rookie Jedi Knight and his young inexperienced Padawan to detain, at this point, probably the biggest threat in the galaxy to them that they've come across in a long time, which is just ridiculous. The only reason this happened is for the story to happen. There is no logic to this, and it doesn't make any sense. It makes the Jedi look stupid and incompetent. But don't worry, we've got many more illogical and stupid flaws and plot holes to go over. But yeah, the biggest threat in the galaxy, and they send a rookie Jedi and his apprentice. Absolutely ridiculous. Anyway, on to the next one. When the Acolyte finds Jedi Indara would have ended the story in the first 5 minutes of the show if she simply used logic and done what a Jedi would have done in this situation. She would have realistically used her lightsaber to defend herself and all the people being harmed in the bar by the Acolyte. She would have killed the Acolyte with ease and ended the story, but nope. She decided to not use her lightsaber because for some reason she wants to have a fair fight with the Acolyte, or she doesn't think that this Force user who's attacking innocent people in this bar, literally force kicking tables at them, she still doesn't feel the need to use her lightsaber because the opponent's unarmed, I think was her mentality. I really don't know, and I don't know because it makes no sense. It was just an excuse for the show to have some martial arts fights, and it just comes across as stupid. I mean, why would a Jedi not use their weapon when a highly trained Force user attacks them with one? Even if it's just knives, you're still going to use your lightsaber because you're meant to be a peacekeeper. But no, they have a martial arts fight and they put aside all realism and in-universe logic. Literally, this is not only logic in real life, it's logic in the universe to use your lightsaber and protect these innocent civilians. But no, another illogical scene where logic is put to the side just for a fight scene. They really decided to bring down everything else just for the audience to see some mediocre martial arts that was obviously sped up anyway. It was just a stupid scene where Jedi Indara wasn't taking a very serious moment seriously and decided not to act like a Jedi. So yeah, she deserved to die. What a stupid scene. The Acolyte should be dead, because if she used her lightsaber, the Acolyte would not be able to win at all. Anyway, on to the next one. Is it just me, or does the Acolyte not act like a Sith apprentice at all? She acts like a moody teen. There's nothing that seems evil about her. She somehow still has sympathy and compassion. We see her spare the life of the bartender and their child, and if this was a real Sith apprentice who is one of the rule of 2, there would be no chance, there would be no hesitation that the bartender would not be alive. And honestly, even his offspring. Sith are not compassionate, they don't have sympathy. It's just ridiculous. And that's not how the rule of 2 works. It's not how the Sith works. But clearly in this show, they're going to be changing a lot. I mean, we've all heard the rumours about episode 3 and it sounds absolutely horrendous, and if everything I've heard about the episode is true, I am definitely going to be making a few videos about that, because that's going to really piss everyone off, including me, as someone who unsurprisingly wants the lore that George Lucas made to stay canon and not be changed by people who don't understand Star Wars.
You're goddamn right.
But yeah, throughout these first 2 episodes, she does not act like a Sith apprentice. She's hardly even a dark side user. It's the most mild and pathetic betrayal, and I'm surprised I don't see many people really mentioning this, but yet again, there is so many other flaws in this show. Some things are going to be overlooked. Anyway, when the Jedi successfully capture the potential Jedi killer, they decide for no reason at all to leave her unsupervised. They put her on a separate ship to themselves to be transported back to Coruscant.
What?
With multiple other criminals, and even though that point alone is stupid enough, on this ship they put her on, the only security, the only supervisor over this Jedi killer and all the other prisoners in this shuttle, there is only one droid looking over all of the inmates on this ship. They put this potential Jedi killer, I'll say it again, they go to capture her, they're successful, then they let her out of their sight, put her on a completely different ship to take her back to Coruscant, where they're going anyway, and put one droid in charge of her and all the other criminals on the ship, the criminals and her escape. You see, if the Jedi weren't that stupid, they would have successfully got her back to Coruscant, and this whole story would have went completely differently, because she would be arrested in Coruscant and they would not let her go until they find their actual killer, and the rest of the story would have went on without her. But even then, they could have wrote this scene in any other way and it would have made more sense. But no, typical lazy Disney Star Wars writers really thought that the Jedi would allow arguably the biggest threat to them on a completely different ship whilst they head back by themselves. For no reason at all. There's no valid reason why they would do this. It doesn't make any sense at all. It's really one of the dumbest scenes I've ever seen, because it is that stupid. It's that ridiculous. Why would they do that? What is the need to do that? Just take her back in your ship and don't allow this extremely dangerous person any chance at escaping and hunting down more Jedi.
It's just common sense.
It's just common sense.
It's just so dumb. I really hope I'm not repeating myself too much in this video, but I really have to hit these points as much as I feel like I need to, because it's really that stupid. By the way, let me know any other flaws you notice in this show that I've missed out on. We all need to talk about this and discuss this. And if you think any of my points are not flaws, I'd love to hear your reason for it. Jeez, I swear the main theme of Star Wars under Disney is nonsense. That must be the key word that they have circled on their big whiteboard in the writer's room. The writers for Disney Star Wars have always been the perfect display of lazy, uninspired, passionless, illogical writing, and I don't see how they're okay with doing this consistently. The Acolyte infiltrates a Jedi temple by simply throwing a disable device on a gatekeeper droid, which by the way is the only security that this Jedi temple has. I say it again, the only security is a gatekeeper droid for a Jedi temple. I mean, at least Jabba's palace had a gatekeeper droid, along with dozens of Gamorrean guards, securing every entrance to the palace, because of course Jabba would have guards. You see, George Lucas and his writers care about logic. They cared about the world that their story takes place in, and knew they must think about every element of every scene, because they wanted the world they were creating and their story to be as authentic and believable as possible. It's extremely important to limit the chance of breaking the viewer's immersion, especially for something like Star Wars, that relies on the viewer's belief that this creative, mystical world could exist. It must feel real, and so the characters must make realistic decisions that make sense for what and who the characters are as individuals. But yet Disney does not understand these simple rules of storytelling, or at least these simple elements that show that you care about the story you're making. But they do not think about these Star Wars shows as anything more than just a product, and this is the same mindset they have for the Acolyte, clearly.
Some things never change.
This whole show is going to be a wild ride for us, I'm telling you guys. We're all in this together.
It's garbage!
But anyway, like I said, the Acolyte gets into the Jedi Temple with ease because it has no security. Anyway, on to the next one. The Acolyte finds the Jedi that she wanted to assassinate, and when the assassination attempt doesn't work out, she leaves the temple through a huge hole in the ceiling directly above the Jedi that she was targeting, because of course he is meditating under the most accessible and discreet entrance and exit into the Jedi temple, a huge hole in the roof.
Oh, well, isn't that convenient?
The writers needed the Acolyte to be able to escape this small room, so they just said, F it. There's just going to be a gigantic hole in the roof directly above the target. As creative as always, Disney. Brilliant. She leaves through the ceiling directly above the Jedi Master, and then the next day she literally enters back through the hole in the ceiling to attempt the assassination again, and then after she does it, she leaves through it again. It's a very easy entrance and exit for a Jedi temple. To allow this Acolyte to come and go into this Jedi temple as she pleases, it doesn't make sense. Why is everything in this universe stupid under Disney? It's just brain rotting. And by the way, just to add on to it, during the assassination, she literally hands the poison to the Jedi and he drinks it because clearly he was thirsty to die.
This is murder! Murder!
Like, what the hell is even that? I don't know. I can't explain it. That really happened. She handed the poison to her target, a Jedi who has been meditating and hasn't spoken to anyone for 10 years. He has been meditating for 10 whole years. He doesn't eat, he doesn't drink, he doesn't shit. He doesn't do anything but meditate. Like, what is going on in this universe now? I don't know. Apparently people don't need to eat now. Apparently Jedi never eat. Does the Force feed you? It just doesn't make sense. He says he was expecting her, even though the Jedi who were there that day were meant to think that she died, yet he's been expecting her this whole time. So only him, out of all the Jedi who were there during the event where she died, or supposedly died, he's the one to somehow know that she is alive and that she'd come, and there's so many issues with that. It doesn't make any sense at all. It's literally the worst in every way. This show. Guys, help me, please. Help me. Please tell me in the comments that you feel the same pain I do. I know many people do out there, but I want to hear it, that I'm not going insane. And yeah, she leaves through the convenient hole in the roof once again. So, the next point. During the Acolyte's murder attempt, the Jedi show up at the temple to catch her before she commits the murder, which they failed to do, and with them is the potential Jedi Master killer. I don't know why they brought her along, apart from the fact that she was a former apprentice of Jedi Master Sol, who has belief in her, that she is innocent, yet doesn't fully believe her. We'll get to that in a minute, but she goes along with them for some reason. And what this potential Jedi Knight killer does, once they're inside the temple, is wander off on her own, away from the group. She just happens to stumble across the dead Jedi's body before the others get there, because I guess she took a shortcut, so she got there first, even though she just wandered off. During one of her traumatic hallucinations, she kneels beside the body, picks up the poison container that was on the ground that killed him, and then of course the Jedi walk in to see her next to the dead body, holding it, and now of course they suspect that she's just killed the Jedi. How dumb does she have to be to wander off? And then when she finds the body, she didn't think, wait a minute, if I'm the only one in here with the Jedi, I'm gonna look guilty, and they already think I'm guilty of the murder, so I'm just going to wait until they enter the room, or I'm gonna go and find them, instead of staying in this room with this body and giving me no chance of looking innocent. But no, she not only stays in the room alone with the dead body, she picks up the container that held the poison and kneels beside the body like she's trying to look as guilty as possible. How stupid does she have to be? And first of all, how stupid do the Jedi have to be to even let her out of their sight? They literally don't even look back to see if she's still with them, apart from one, Yord, who luckily for her, saw her wandering off and decided to follow, because of course none of them trust her. So the fact that she's wandering off away from them, he decides to follow her. Now I don't know why he didn't see her wandering off and say, why are you walking away? We're going this way. We don't trust you, so I don't know where you're wandering off to. It's very weird. Doesn't say anything to the other Jedi, just stays silent and decides to follow her. But anyway, luckily for her, this Jedi was following her, so then he can reassure the other Jedi that she was not the one who killed the dead Jedi. But if he wasn't there, she'd be 100% guilty, and there'd be no way to really get past it. There's no way she can prove her innocence, because she put herself in such a stupid position. Once again, all the characters are really stupid in this scene, and I can't stand it. Sheer stupidity. Anyway, this one, I just wanted to get off my chest. It's not as horrendous and painful as the ones I've mentioned so far, but to me, this is the biggest flaw of them all, and that is the casting for this one character and the makeup artist that worked on this character. And this mysterious character is no other than the poison drinker, Jedi Master Tobin.
What the f?
Is he 15 or is he 63? Pick an age, mate. I haven't seen such a goofy looking character in my life. The look of this character is terrible, from the hair to the beard. He looks like a child with grandkids that has a baby face. I mean, it's just really uncanny. It's very odd to look at, and really it's just funny. His whole character is a joke, and to be honest, he might be my favourite character, because everything about him so far is fucking ridiculous. He is the elderly child who decides to drink poison after meditating consistently with no breaks for 10 years, not speaking to anyone. I mean, you can't make this up. It seems like a joke, but it's not. I bet if you haven't seen the episodes and you're watching this, you're thinking, what the hell is he talking about? You probably don't believe me, and to be honest, you probably want to start watching the show now because of Jedi Master Tobin. I mean, he's such a stupid, goofy clown of a character that shouldn't exist. He should not be written in this way at all. He should not look how he does, but he does look this way, and he is written this way. It's very fascinating. It's very interesting, and that's why he's my favourite character. I'm sad he died, but oh well, he'll be back for flashbacks in future episodes, and hopefully in the future of the show, they give us context for why he drank the poison, why he expected the Acolyte to come, why he is who he is, why he looks like he does. We need explanations for so many things. If they even do explain it, it's going to be nonsensical, and it will not justify any of his actions in this scene. But for the show's sake, they better hope they do. But anyway, the last flaw and huge plot hole in this video, the Jedi tell the fake shopkeeper that he'd be let off with a warning for helping commit a murder if he gives them the information they seek. I mean, the issue with that is very self-explanatory, but the Jedi would simply never let someone off who is a murderer and knows personally their Jedi Master Killer. They would not let this individual off with a warning for giving them some information when he has all the information anyway. You take him in, you make him tell you everything he knows, you read his mind. Man, guys, we've suffered so much and we continue to suffer.
Tell me! How to get burned! How to get burned! How to get burned!
Man, this is not what Jedi would ever do in a million years. Doctor Strange himself could not find a timeline where the Jedi would ever let this certain individual off with a warning, considering what he's done, what he knows, and who he is, for a little bit of information, when he has more information than they're searching for. Yet they don't seem to realize that. It's so bad. It's so bad and it's so stupid. I think we've got like 4 more episodes. I'm so happy this show is 6 episodes. I hope I'm right about that. I might need to check, but I'm so happy it is, because if it was any more than 6, I think my brain will explode, and yours along with me. And by the way, I've remembered one more nitpick, which is also a flaw. It is a valid flaw. And that is that when the Acolyte attempts to assassinate the Jedi, the first time, the Jedi that walks in a second, not even a second, after she jumps to leave through the ceiling, which he would have definitely noticed, didn't sense her. How do you not sense a dark side user? The apprentice of a Sith, one of the 2 dark side users in the rule of 2. You can't get any darker than that, even though she has no resemblance of a dark side user and does not act like one in the slightest. But how does he not sense her when he enters the room that she's in? At this point, she couldn't have escaped, even though they show that many times. When it's convenient, she can just disappear, and completely silently, like she's got the Black Panther suit on that allows you to walk and run without making any footstep noises. Jedi seem to pick and choose when they sense things, but one of the 2 biggest darkside users in the galaxy at this point in time, he couldn't even sense her in the same room as him, or even in the room next to him. Like, come on, it's ridiculous. I don't know how long this video is. It feels like it might be my longest one besides the Jedi Survivor playthrough, but these are all the main flaws and some little ones that I noticed from episode 1 and 2 of the Acolyte. If you've made it to this point in the video, thank you for watching. This is going to take hours and hours of editing. Let me know your opinion on the show in general down below. Do you agree or disagree with any of the points I've mentioned? Do you have any more points? Do you know any more flaws and plot holes that you noticed that I didn't mention? Let me know down below, and I'll see you on the next one.
But if you can't look and see the Anakin blowing up the Death Star, possibly killing millions and millions of people. Anakin blowing up the Death Star. Anakin blowing up the Death Star.
Oh no! Oh no!